Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be building a clouded leopard habitat for DLC Zoo. So we're working our way through the Southeast Asia animals now. So we've done the Babirusa and the Binturong, so now we're going to do the clouded leopard. So yeah, I wanted to have like a bit of a big kind of greenhouse, glass house kind of a theme for this one. It's a pretty big build, which I've tried to condense it down as much as possible. And a lot of the pieces I'm using are not actually grid pieces, they're just like the glass pieces that you can get and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just been a really big build. It's taken me longer than I thought it would. And essentially, it's the idea of this was to kind of be more realistic than I've been before. So I wanted to try and keep to the kind of more realism side of things, which is what I'm doing a bit more with DLC Zoo, is trying to keep things a little bit more realistic than before. So yeah, so this is like the main kind of atrium chamber, whatever you want to call it, of the habitat. I built it, like half of it, and then I just duplicated it. I kept a little bit of the structure at the top just because I thought it kind of makes sense to have a little bit more structure to it, so it's not just like unsupported. And then once I'd done that, I kind of flattened out a bit of land that I wanted it to be on, and then just like copied and pasted it to make this nice long kind of area for me to work in. It was probably a bit more of an awkward shape than I could have used, but I mean, it does the job, I guess. I'm actually quite pleased with how this turned out, particularly with the new billboards and everything. I think it looks really nice and polished, which I'm really pleased with this. So this was the main entrance going into this kind of area for the clouded leopards. Again, there's going to be a lot of rock work. I'm still trying to go for that kind of natural jungle habitat theme that we've got going on. Oh, and I had to go at building my own wall, because like I do kind of like miss, well, I don't say miss, we don't really have like any kind of like walls in the game that are just different colours that are made out of big chunky bricks, so it would be cool if we could have something like that in the game, maybe some different smaller rocks or something like that. So yeah, I was just fiddling around with this, trying to get it to look how I wanted it to, and I spent a lot of time, way too much time on this habitat really. Obviously one of the big issues I had as well is that everything is made out of wood, which is very climbable, and obviously the clouded leopards can climb, so later on I do change some of the wood for like stone pieces just in certain areas where the leopards can climb out to make sure they can't escape. So yeah, the idea of this habitat was there'd be two sections, so there'd be like kind of a section for the male cat and a section for the female cat, so they can be kept separate if need be, but for now we have kind of like the gate open, as it were. I struggled a little bit with this inside area because I just didn't know how I wanted it to be. I wasn't sure if I ever wanted to have it so that you could go like through the whole thing and come out the other side. But I actually decided, no, let's just make it an enclosed space, and the guests actually do go all the way and use it. I think I've actually finally mastered 2 to 3 meter paths actually as well. I think I'm finally getting the hang of that now. It takes taking a bit of time, but I think I'm pretty much there with building 2 and 3 meter paths. So I wanted to have a go at building the inside kind of like the wall, I guess, that the guests will view through. And obviously we're trying to stick with this kind of like wooden Asian theme still. I don't want it to be, you know, it's the idea is that it is an Asian themed zoo with like all the Asian animals in it, but then also a few extras. And so I'm just was trying to keep it kind of to that kind of Asian theme with like the reds and the wood. So I was really pleased with how this turned out. I was really pleased with how the inside turned out. It was very fiddly and a lot of faff, but it was definitely worth it. And I will definitely do something like this again in the future because I really enjoyed building this. It was just a really nice thing to build. So yeah, I wanted to have like again a multi-platform layer because we get that lovely hammock that I had to research. So I actually deleted Alphabet Zoo in franchise mode, mainly just to get all the conservation credits. So I got like 200,000 conservation credits from Alphabet Zoo, but it's in Sandbox now. So but I deleted Alphabet Zoo essentially, which meant I lost all my research, which was really annoying, of like all the animal research, because I researched nearly every animal and I was hoping to get the achievement, but we never got that far. So oh well. I guess we'll figure it out another time. Yeah, so I was just making a custom fence here just to line the paths, because I kind of wanted it to be like a mix of glass viewing areas and just areas where you can just kind of overlook. So I wanted this to be like kind of like an overlooking section where you can just kind of look down into the habitat. And I made like a bit of a security barrier, which it was okay, but yeah. This was another anti-climb barrier for the clouded leopards using 2 different fences. So that's the aquatic fence and one of the Australian fence pieces. I was really pleased with how this turned out. There is a lot of copy and pasting in this kind of build, unfortunately, but I mean, it is what it is. So yeah, this was when I decided I would actually divide the inside areas up into 2 areas, and it works really, really well. I like the fact that the animals, they will go into the different areas for different things, so the keepers can also access all different areas as well, which is really, really good. And I just really like kind of just how it functions essentially as a habitat. They use it really, really nicely. Obviously got the billboards in there just to kind of have a bit more of a background. And then we're back outside here just sorting out this fence, because this fence is really fun. I really did not enjoy building this fence. It was just such a nightmare. As you can see, I would probably build it smaller in the future. I just wish, like, again, we had the scalable pieces that Prehistoric Kingdom has, because this would make building stuff like this a lot easier. Alas, so I managed just about. So yeah, this is just, again, just more for aesthetics rather than anything else, because the idea is that the animals can't actually get to that part. So I actually wanted, this is my first kind of go at realism. I was actually going to have 2 separate clouded leopard habitats, but I decided I would just make it one big habitat, hence why there's a keeper gate here. But I actually decided that this would be like a more realistic area, which I've never really built anything like this before, and I decided that this would be like the area kind of like behind like closed doors, as it were, so that the clouded leopards can be taken out of their habitat. I make a little door. Just again, it's just sort of a suggestion, really, nothing too detailed. Just to suggest that perhaps, you know, this is like a more like secluded area. And again, we just put planters on the top of it because I want this to be a very heavily planted kind of greenhouse kind of a deal. And again, I do a lot of fiddling. This was where I was just trying to work out how the habitats were going to fit together, and again, I think halfway through I decided now we'll just make it one habitat, because I didn't like how the habitats were kind of sat together. So we have another little pool over there. We've got 2 pools, and then this is the dividing wall. So this is the main wall that separates the 2 habitats. And again, we're adding this anti-climb fence to try and make it a bit more realistic, because I'm trying to go for a little bit more realism. Or at least a little bit more detail. Maybe not realism, but maybe just more detail. I do have to switch out some of all this wood with anti-climb stuff as well. I wish there was an option for non-climbable items in like the construction option items, so you know what things, you know what things you can build for things that aren't kind of climbable. And so this was just a simple bit of plaster that I put in just to kind of fill that gap, so I could just see how it was. I do come back to this a lot later on, but for now I just leave it as so and just add more rocks. And again, I actually really liked what I did here. This was sort of a bit of a spur of the moment thinking. I just kind of like sank the glass into the rocks, and I really like how it turned out. With this, I wanted the rocks to look very fake compared to maybe other parts of the zoo. They're supposed to be fake. They're supposed to be like kind of, acting as a persistent barrier. So as you can see, this is where I got rid of the gate there, and then I put another wall in just to try and make it kind of like, say, if you were to have like an animal experience, you'd go down that gate and feed the clouded leopards or whatever. Yeah, it's a bit all over the place, so I kind of brought the wall to the other side as well, on the other side, just to try and match it up a bit, and then I just copy and paste some of the rocks in. It is going quite fast because I had to speed it up more than I would normally just to try and fit the whole thing into a reasonable time frame. But yeah, so this is just all the rocks inside, just doing some nice rock work and just making sure it's all inside. And again, I love these big billboards. I decided to make a little wall for it, just trying to fit in with the theming again, and just trying to make it fit. and see like it's all themed, and putting more planters up here. They don't quite line up, but it's not too much of an issue. Because I just wanted to kind of, you know, sell this kind of greenhousey deal with it, really. So yeah, again, more fun with the fence. This fence was pretty annoying. So here I was just trying to like get it sorted, and then again having a bit of fun with some of the gaps there, because there's a gap between the wall and the fence, so I just wanted to fill that in so we can put some plants in there in a bit as well. And part of the reason why it's moving around so much is because I keep looking, like one of the things I've started doing is I keep looking at the habitat from all different angles. So I can see what it looks like for the guests, I can see what it looks like just from loads of different angles really. But yeah, and then we have the plaster going in just to finish it off, and this is where I think I switch out the wood for concrete so the animals can't climb it, because I put the cloud leopards in and they were like, oh, we can climb on top of the roof, and I was like, great. So yeah, just again more rock work, a lot of rocks going into this. I'm just putting in all the enrichment items and things. And this was like our anti-fall barrier, so if you fall over the like barrier you won't fall into the habitat. It is a bit janky, but I feel like those things always are, and you can kind of get away with it. And then here's me just putting in some more kind of like concrete things just to kind of fill it in. And then we have our wonderful climbing frame that the clouded leopards absolutely love. I have modified it a bit. The idea was that I was going to make a little hut for them, but I decided actually I kind of wanted it a bit open so the guests can like see them there. This is when I realised I hadn't researched the clouded leopard and the enrichment item, like the hammock, so I just left it, that's why the game's running, I just left it like researching while I was building. But yeah, we got all the plants going in here, making it look just really dense, continuing kind of the really dense jungle theme from like the rest of the park. And just again adding the palm leaves, making it feel like a tropical, just kind of a tropical house really. Putting in the plants to make sure that the leopards couldn't climb out that area either. And then just again building out this side of the habitat. They don't really use this side of the habitat too much, they tend to use the one with the climbing frame. But yeah, so that's kind of it really. Like there's not really too much more to say. I mean, other than like, you know, clouded leopards are really, really cool. I really like them. I think the graphics of the clouded leopards is gorgeous. I do think that, you know, I think some of the things that they're lacking with the clouded leopard is for example, clouded leopards can actually like climb vertically down, facing downwards, like head first. They have like double jointed wrists in their front paws that allow them to actually swivel and kind of swivel like halfway up a tree trunk. They can go up face first and then like turn around halfway and come down face first, which is a lot of other cats can't do that. So it would have been nice to have that animation, because that is something very unique to clouded leopards compared to the other cats. So I do think we were a little bit lacking in there, and it is a little bit of a reskin of the snow leopard, which is a bit disappointing. It also would have been nice to see like the clouded leopards be able to climb upside down, because they can climb upside down. They're really, really muscular for like the size of their body, so they can do things like climb kind of like upside down and things like that. But some of the clouded leopard facts is that they have the longest canines compared to any other species of cat, so they are basically the modern day kind of almost saber-toothed cat, because they've got really, really long canines, and they also have the widest jaw like angle when it's open of any cat that we have today, which is kind of interesting. I've never actually seen a clouded leopard in person, so it'd be cool to see one at some point in person, but for the time being I guess I'll just have to admire the ones in the zoos. I don't really know too much about them, really, because there's, again, like I've never really seen them and things like that. But yeah, so I was just finishing up the inside area now. I just wanted to kind of add some more climbing frames, add some more plants. There's a lot of plants. This is a very plant-heavy build anyway, this whole zoo. So I'm just trying to like, you know, mix it all in. I also didn't want to like leave any bits out of this recording either. But yeah, you can see that the cloud leopards are just chilling, having fun, and again, just trying to make sure they've got enough climbing area. And again, a lot of the plants that I'm using are kind of stacked, so if you saw my tutorial that came out last week, you can find out how I build a lot of these plants there. Here is some artwork I made. I'm going to maybe make some more artwork for some of the other habitats as well. For the clouded leopard, because I can draw cats and dogs quite well, but I can't really draw anything else very well. So I figured I would add some custom artwork to this and just make some frames and things. I really like the 1 meter by 1 meter, well 1 meter like in length TV screen. I think that's a really nice size for an education board. Why the education boards aren't that big anyway, I don't know, because they're just really nice. And again, just adding some more mulch, just finishing off. But yeah, what do you guys think of the Asia pack? I'm sad we didn't get any climbing pieces, not climbing pieces, like building pieces. Because it would have been nice to have some more building pieces. I mean, it looks like the next pack is probably going to be an African pack, like maybe North Africa with 4 animals. But I also kind of hope, like, part of me wants 8 animals because there's a lot of like diversity in the animals in Africa, but then the other part of me wants like more build pieces as well. I mean, apparently the pack after the African pack is probably going to be a rainforest pack, which could be quite interesting. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and interesting to see what we get, because we like the future, it could be anything. We don't really know what we're going to get. So yeah, anyway, I will leave you now with the cinematics and the tour of the habitat. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe below. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below as well, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care out there, guys.